Match 69, Frankenstein vs. Zilla, by Joshua Reynolds.
Now this is gonna smell funny.
Hold on, just as a quick note, Joshua Reynolds wrote a ton of matches. Damn.
Oh
I
yeah.
actually need to keep track because he may be in the top list now with all the recent matches he's had.
Oh, most certainly. Yeah, he wrote
I
a
just
lot
found
of
something in there.
matches. So
It looks like Frankenstein is punching Zilla right inside of his mouth right now in the banner. Look
it
at it.
kind of does. Yeah. Maybe that's the intent. We'll see if there's any context to that.
Mm-hmm.
A small village at the basin of Mount Fuji was asleep. The farmers and workers lay in their beds. Those not asleep listened to the peaceful chirps of crickets and the hum of the nighttime brought. They'd be asleep in no time. It was going on 1 o'clock a.m. Technically, that would just be 1 o'clock because Japan uses 24-hour clock, but whatever. When the first change came, the crickets suddenly became silent as if a predator was on the hunt. A moment later, a flash of man-made light ripped through the streets, blasting through the windows as if the sun had already risen early. Several people sat up, rubbing their eyes as more floodlights tore across the ground. That's when the shaking came. Thunderous footsteps made their small homes bounce. A roar, an all too familiar roar, then filled their minds with fear. It was the tremendous roar of Godzilla himself. The sound of helicopters buzzing became louder, and soon an explosion ripped through one of the huts. A missile had missed its mark.
Another hut. Come on.
Yeah,
Somebody has to
Under the
die.
huts.
poor hut. Zilla ducked its
Not Jabba.
all right. Zilla ducked its body down, dodging another warhead and allowing it to explode on the streets, kicking up a storm of tan dust and smoke. The mutated iguana hissed and turned around, running through the small village with no care for those
Small
inside.
buildings.
Oh yeah, small buildings, I bet. Running through the small buildings with no care for those inside. Suddenly, something caught its eye as it reached the end of the village and saw the tree line. A giant stood, arms crossed over its hairy chest, using the hides of deer as clothing. Dang, that's a lot of deer. The giant Frankenstein's monster.
That's a lot of deer.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, more
lot of
than
deer.
Gorosaurus.
Yeah. The giant Frankenstein's monster growled as Zilla came grinding to a halt, claws digging trenches in the ground. Behind the monsters, 3 helicopters appear and circled around. Frankenstein suddenly burst into action, throwing his arms to the side and charging the mutation. Pass.
Zilla hissed and turned around, but Frankenstein was on him. The humanoid leaped into the air and came down. The giant grunted as the lizard's sharp back spikes cut into his flesh, but the force drove Zilla head first into the ground. The monster jerked and thrashed until it brought its whip-like tail up, striking Frankenstein's back. The German-Japanese kaiju shrieked and was flung to the side, a clear wound visible from where the tail whipped him. The iguana spun on all fours before standing up, roaring as Frankenstein followed. As the giant stood, his hands clenched a small truck, hiding it from Zilla's view. The spawn of atomic tests began to rush Frankenstein. Hold on. Technically, they both were spawns of that. Thank you.
I would also like to make a correction that Frankenstein is actually Caucasian, as said in the movie. So, I'm just saying.
Born in Germany, though.
Isn't that
Raised in Japan.
So he was a German. This is why Frankenstein Conquers the World is so relevant today. It's about an immigrant coming to and being rejected and then having to deal with its problems, as in
They're fighting a
Baragon.
giant dinosaur.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You are right. It's the greatest metaphor of all time. Keep reading.
The spawn of atomic deaths began to rush Frankenstein, but the humanoid turned on his heel and smashed the truck down on Zilla's forehead. The monster screamed in rage, as the Forum did as well with that that one comic book series, as blood began to trickle down its boxy skull. The truck itself disintegrated into scrap. Before Zilla could move again, Frankenstein wrapped his muscular arms around its throat, trying to strangle the life out of the NYC killer. The mutation would have none of it and stood upright for one brief second, making Frankenstein's feet leave the earth. The monster fell backward, and Frankenstein was body slammed onto the several small homes. Ah, those poor people. Frankenstein screamed and began to crawl away, but Zilla's jaws clamped shut on his shin. As blood began to gush from where the teeth penetrated, Frankenstein again reached out, grabbing another vehicle. As he tried to kick at the face of Zilla with his free leg, Frankenstein tossed the car into his opponent's snout. A small blast made Zilla drop his opponent, bringing his arms to pat out the flames on his nose. As Zilla sniffed and coughed, Frankenstein quickly regained his composure and lunged, tackling Zilla to the ground.
So many people losing their cars.
There's just going to be what you don't know is there's actually going to be a throwing cars at each other.
There's gonna be a car shortage soon.
The giant gripped at his throat, squeezing with all his might as he thrust his other arm down, gouging at the lizard's eye. The mutation struggled and slashed at Frankenstein with its claws, but the human didn't relent and fought through the razor-like cuts forming on his torso and arms. Pass.
Suddenly, the abomination took in a deep breath. Frankenstein roared defiantly, not expecting what would follow. The iguana's jaw opened up and a blast of flammable gas and wind ripped into Frankenstein's face. The monster fell backward, rubbing his face and trying to regain his vision. Shit roared again and jumped to his feet. The lizard charged, clamping his jaws down on Frankenstein's arm. The giant struggled, but ended up failing. The disgrace quickly dropped, spinning his body around like an alligator would do to his prey. It only took a few spins before a sickening pop was followed by the tearing of flesh. A fountain of red gore was shot into the ground, and Zilla fell back, holding the twitching arm from elbow on in his mouth. Frankenstein shouted and crawled away, his stump spilling countless gallons of blood onto the ground. As Frankenstein screamed in pain, Zilla stepped back, grabbing each side of the arm with his own and gnawing as if it were a giant turkey leg.
I mean, guys, sometimes you're just hungry and you're like, you're like in the cartoon, you just steak. He probably just saw turkey. It happens to us all.
Yeah. Dissatisfied with the taste of the mutated flesh and blood, Zilla dropped the bloody limb, letting it flop on the ground where the fingers began to dig into the soft soil, trying to crawl away.
He only eats
like
fish, remember?
So I guess this is Evil Dead 2. Shaking
Fish.
Huh?
Fish, that's why he dropped it.
Well, he just snacked on a whole bunch of people, didn't he?
Yeah.
They probably tasted like fish.
They were Atlanteans. This actually takes place in Atlantis.
Yes.
That's a lot of people. Shaking its head and smearing blood on its jaws, the monstrous iguana stepped forward, crushing the twisted hand under its talon foot. Frankenstein rolled on the ground, crawling away. Soon, the giant screamed in pain as the jaws latched on his shin. Godzilla.
Boo.
Triangular shark-like teeth tore into the soft human flesh. As quickly as he bit down, Zilla ripped his head away, tearing with it a bacon-like strip of skin. Huh.
Sounds
With
delicious.
Yeah. I mean, I'd
And
like
today
to
we
have
just
some
learned about Andrew's
kaiju.
eating habits.
I know I personally would like to have some kaiju bacon. With a snarl, the monster tossed the bloody piece to the side. Frankenstein continued to howl, reaching forward in an attempt to grab anything that he could use as a weapon. Pass.
Oh, one more.
Oh, okay.
Wait, is that was 5? No, wait. No, that was 4. Yeah, one more.
Okay. By now, the pair had gone closer to the small population, and the giant reached into the street, his hand wrapped around a truck. With a shriek, Frankenstein rolled onto his back and kicked out, whacking the beast in the forehead with his foot. As Zilla backed away with a hiss, the giant tossed the truck at Zilla's head with all of his strength. The truck shattered on impact. The gasoline that remained inside caught a flame from a spark. Pass. Nagoda.
Nagoda, you're up.
Nagoda.
Nagoda?
Nagoda. Are you
Oh
there?
God, he's disappeared into the nether.
No.
Nagoda!
We've lost him. No.
No!
He's in the Shadow Realm now. He didn't believe in the heart of the cards.
Wait, I saw a flash of life.
Is he back?
Nagoda?
Nagoda? Nagoda?
Can't hear you.
Nagoda!
Guys, give him some air. Give him some air.
He's here. I saw
Quick,
him.
CPR.
I heard him. Nagoda, speak. Speak, damn you. Nagoda. Nagoda. Nagoda.
Well, men, we lost him.
No.
So I guess we got to order that replacement now, Nagoda 2.0.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I hear it comes with a cup holder.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh.
In honor of
Sorry,
Nagoda, in honor of Nagoda's
Hello?
death,
Hello?
I will take over for the
Oh,
last
he's
5
here.
paragraphs.
Is it working?
Oh, there he
Okay.
is. He's back to life.
Yay.
And that,
Once he heard we were replacing him, he was like, I guess I got to come back now.
yeah.
Nagoda.
Is it working now?
Define working.
Yeah, define working. You're kind of coming in awkwardly.
Mm-hmm. Nagoda.
Oh no. Yeah,
You
if
lost
you're
him?
talking right now, we can't hear you.
Might be best if we have Andrew finish it up.
Yeah. Don't worry, Nagoda Senpai. I'll finish your part. A small ball of orange and red fire spread forth between Zilla's eyes, making the creature howl. Zilla continued to back away, shaking its head as Frankenstein scrambled to his feet. The human rolled to the side, reaching for yet another vehicle. As Zilla patted out the rest of the flames, Frankenstein trucked forward. Anyway. Just as the lizard-like kaiju looked forward, whatever, Frankenstein leaped into the air, holding the unfortunate car in his grip. Coming down with a hammer-like blow, Frankenstein crushed the car up the side of Zilla's skull.
How many cars are in this match? Seriously, is this sponsored by Ford or like GMC or Chevrolet or something?
No,
That's
it's
a lot of cars.
yeah, it's sponsored by Toyota, don't you know? Or what was it?
At this point, I think this is a Toyota versus like Volkswagen or something.
Maybe. Which one
That's a
can
lot of
explode Which one can explode the most? Another.
Is my internet working good now?
We can hear you, but I'm gonna take over for you. So if that's
Okay,
all.
finally. All right.
Sorry, Nagoda.
At least calling the winner.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. You'll call the winner.
Okay.
Another small explosion ripped outward as Frankenstein pulled his arm away. As the giant gained some distance, Zilla shook his head and took another deep breath. Frankenstein was prepared for what he thought would happen and brought up his remaining arm to protect his face, but something else came. The breath Zilla breathed combined with the flame produced by Frankenstein's last attack and a stream of fire was thus born. The flames washed over Frankenstein's arm, quickly making the giant scream in pain again. In reaction, the giant lowered his arm, and the flames tore into his ugly face. The human fell back in a heartbeat, its entire upper torso and arm engulfed in flames. Zilla snorted and shook its head before releasing a loud cry. The mutation stepped forward, making the earth shake with every blow. Frankenstein was still alive and struggling, but as the fur and skin on his body turned to ash, the lizard planted a firm foot on its burning chest. The giant screamed again, this time turning into a wheeze as Zilla put his weight on his foot, instantly breaking ribs. The burnt arm of Frankenstein came up, grabbing the leg, but it was futile. With a final roar of ultimate victory, Zilla's jaws came down again, clamping around Frankenstein's throat. With the moon shining in its fullest behind him, the monster ripped his head upward, holding a large bloody chunk of meat in his jaws. Spitting out the mutated, disgusting flesh, Zilla released another cry of victory. Frankenstein's struggles became less and less, his arm sliding down the monster's leg as the legendary monster finally died, drowned in its blood and the victim of a mutated iguana.
A disgrace.
Oh my god, Zilla actually won. Oh, sorry, Dagoda.
Winner, Zilla. Until Shingo
Winner.
popped up and shot him in the face.
Yeah.
Actually, winner, not Alex.
Winner, Ultra Banner.
Yeah, winner, not Alex. But overall, I kind of...
Even though he's not, that's why he's not here.
Right.
Yep.
He knew we were doing this match. He knew this match was in the lineup. So with this match out of the way, he might come back. Anyway.
Yeah. This match pissed him off that much.
It's not like he has work over the weekday or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, this match was actually, kind of like it's an unusual matchup of monsters, but it's actually kind of decent. I mean, in some ways, it takes the direction you'd expect it to, but it's also kind of sad. It doesn't feel boring. It feels satisfying, especially with Zilla using the flammable gas. I like that kind of ability. It's like the 1998 incarnation is used so little. It's kind of refreshing to see Zilla as less of a hero and just more of another giant animal. So,
Mm-hmm.
at least when compared to what's most common in the KWC.
Yeah. Even
Yeah,
with
it's also kind of nice to have them fighting. Again, for me, it's also kind of cool to see humanoid fighting Zilla because we've seen him. He's fought King Kong, Gorosaurus. He's fought a variety of monsters, but seeing him fight like Frankenstein also kind of relates back to that whole like Baragon thing. Frankenstein has fought an enemy like this, and you might think, oh, this is just like Baragon, but Zilla has its own tactics too. Like, while he doesn't have that heat ray, he is like again going up. Yeah, going off like the movie and mostly the show. He's fast. He gets in close. He's not a retreater like Baragon is, or at least during his fight.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right. Also, side note: this is the first banner made by Jackson Morse for the KWC.
Mm-hmm.
That explains why it's terrible. Gotcha.
That's why it's the match 69 banner. It's the perfect match to come in on.
Yeah. And also, I am very disappointed that this wasn't the first match in the KWC XXX.
Mm-hmm.
We created that with Godzilla vs. Gamera, to be fair, so...
True.
We just expected more from this match to be in the XXX.
Yeah, we
I'm still
expected something
disappointed.
lowbrow, not decent.
Still disappointed though.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you got Frankenstein there fisting Zilla's mouth, so take of that as you will.
True,
Anyway,
but it's Zilla.
who reproduces asexually.
And
Which
Frankenstein,
was
who
an ability
reproduces
something.
when he's killed.
Yes.
Or whenever he has his arm chopped off.
Yeah, or that, yeah, that way to be
Mhm.
brutal. I just say when he dies, but no, you have to have his arm cut off.
Yeah, she's Nagoda.
Can we have an army of Frankenstein? Like, he's just been chopped up into pieces, and all of those
I
pieces
think we
regenerated.
kind of put a. I think we kind of put a no stance on that idea. Like, yeah, I think we talked about it, and I think that was no stance, despite the fact that it's a real possibility. Don't get objectively speak, it's a real possibility, but I don't feel like it would be in the best interest to have whole armies of Santas, Gyras, and Frankensteins running around. So,
Mm-hmm.
If we were allowed to do that, I feel like someone would probably just use them as like the weak underlings that will get
oh, totally,
easily
totally.
killed in one hit.
Oh, totally, totally.
Mm-hmm.
But, Joe, did you have anything to expand
Does
on?
anyone else have any final comments, or?
Oh, great shot. Thanks for interrupting Kaiju X.
I basically
I-
said the same thing he said. So,
I know.
Haha, I beat you to it.
Well,
But
I thought it was a good match, though I'm not happy with who won. It was a decent match.
I actually didn't mind it too much. Again, it's a very much it's not a match that really is, at least for me. There's nothing that really screams out to me in the banner. While it was done by Jackson Morris, this was one of his earlier works. It was good. It wasn't like draw dropping.
there are a
but-
lot of fine details. I'll admit that make it stand out. Like between mostly the lighting, I think is probably the most impressive feat of match 69.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's like you got the floodlights kind of beaming in on the two monsters. There's like a nice bit of light gradient going on with Zilla. There's a bit going on with Frankenstein. Though, yeah, it is, compared to his later works, it is a bit more on the plainer side. But, hey, it's one of his firsts. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm. And for a first,
It
it's
looks good.
pretty good.
Yeah. But again, I also make note. Dang, did someone like to use the cars in this match? So like, what can I use in a suburb town? Cars.
Cars. Lots and
Not
lots.
those trees everywhere, but just the cars.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but trees don't explode.
True.
Apparently, trees are good for the kaiju's health, as if you ask King Kong and Sanda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trees are good for your health. Eat your trees.
Bam, bam, bam.
Though I have to say, for this match, that's a lot of cars.
Yeah, totally,
Uh,
totally.
Well, at least we know by the end of this match which one is superior. Obviously, Toyota or Hyundai.
Of
Because
course.
Volkswagen just wasn't able. It just couldn't. It just didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
I would like to.
Explode as good.
I'd like to say those poor huts. They got caught in the crossfire again. This time a lot more of their friends, the homes, and their neighbors, the cars got caught as well.
Yeah. Jabba didn't die for this.
Hmm
But anyway, that was match 69, and we will see you guys next time for match 70. Until then, folks.
Yep. See you guys.
Let's hope it's better than
Still
this one.
disappointed.